Welcome to Mystery Date. This show was created first and foremost for entertainment purposes. While we do our best to research our topics, nothing discussed on this show should be taken as absolute fact. Opinions, theories, and interpretations are just that. Listener judgment is encouraged. In San Jose, California, tucked among the sunny palms and hills, stands a mansion so bizarre, so sprawling, that even architects struggle to explain it. A house with no master plan. A house that grew for decades without ever being finished. A house that many believe to be immensely haunted, and some even believe was built for ghosts. At the center of it all is one woman, Sarah Lockwood Party Winchester. A widow, an heiress, and possibly one of the most misunderstood figures in American history. Because depending on who you ask, she was either haunted by countless vengeful souls, or she was hiding something else entirely. Something much more human. So, let's step inside and try not to get lost in the labyrinth of the Winchester Mystery House.
I'm Kate.
I'm Christian.
Welcome to Mystery Date.
It's date night, meaning we get to talk about all things mysterious and weird.
This season is called A Haunting, and it involves all ghostly and paranormal mysteries in our world.
Tonight's mystery is all about the Winchester Mystery House.
Get comfy, grab your favorite drink, and let's start the show.
Still taking it easy. Just got some nice grape juice.
Yeah, some white grape juice.
We don't judge if you're drinking, though. Please. With the way the world is, I get it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there's were champagne, I wouldn't complain.
No. Yeah, we just weren't prepared. It's not Easter anymore. We can go a little hard. So, just like in our first season, tonight's going to be a little bit of a special one because Kate has prepared the mystery that we're all going to be listening to, and I genuinely don't know anything about it, really.
I was just about to ask, do you know anything about this other than what you've heard from me here and there throughout the years?
No, most of what I know pertaining to this mystery would be about the Winchester rifle and the history behind that and its use in the Civil War and
The war knowledge,
Yes,
not
yeah.
the family knowledge.
No,
Okay.
no, I don't know almost anything about this woman.
All right. Cool. Well, let's dive in. I've been wanting to do this as an episode for a while. Like, even when we first started the podcast, we weren't doing hauntings yet. I'm like, we've got to find a way to fit Winchester into our roster because I want to talk about it. So before we get into the mystery, let's start with the history. Sarah Lockwood Party was born to a pretty wealthy and progressive family in New Haven, Connecticut in 1839. She was incredibly well educated, especially for a woman in that time, speaking 5 languages from a young age and becoming well-versed in literature, math, and science. She was also apparently a very small and quite beautiful woman. She had the nickname the Belle of New Haven.
The Belle of New Haven.
Yeah,
That's
like
fancy.
throughout Connecticut, apparently this was her nickname.
And she was very smart, it seems like. What did you say?
Yeah.
Literature, sciences, math?
Math,
Yeah,
multiple
like everything.
languages. Yeah,
It's like,
this
hey, what do you
was-
want to be when you grow up? Everything.
Literally, and for a woman, especially in the still kind of early to mid 1800s.
Oh, yeah, that's very progressive. That's
So,
kind of
yes.
awesome.
De Belle of New Haven.
The Belle de Ball.
In 1862, Sarah was married to William Wirt Winchester. What a name.
William Wart?
William Wirt.
Wirt. Well, that's better than what I thought.
W-I-R-T.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good thing they specified it's William Wirt, because I know a lot of Wirts.
I don't know any words.
I've never heard that name before in my life. Are you kidding me?
I was about to say, what the hell are you talking about? Who?
Sounds like a Harry Potter character. William was the boy next door. Some argue he just lived in town. He wasn't literally the boy next door, but he very well might have been. Some argue that he did, in fact, live next door. So cute little cliche. It was also a family friend, arranged marriage situation, but both are true. William was the son of the founder of the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, which had had a few different names before this one, but this is the one that's relevant to this story, so this is the one we're sticking with. The Winchester name carried enormous weight in 19th century America due to this company. The Winchester rifle was everywhere. The frontier, the Civil War, expansion into the Wild West. It was massively used and even bragged about by famous people in history like Annie Oakley, Buffalo Bill Cody, and Theodore Roosevelt, who all celebrated the weapon's great prowess. The Winchester Model 1873 rifle eventually became known as the gun that won the West. And with that big win came a big, big paycheck. Meanwhile, as her in-laws and husband's company was changing and growing, Sarah and William had a baby girl, Annie, 4 years into their marriage in 1866. But tragedy struck immediately as the baby was born with malaise, which basically means the body can't absorb nutrients, or at least not correctly or not enough. So, unfortunately, Annie died of malnutrition at just 6 weeks old. And this absolutely wrecked Sarah.
Oh my God. Yeah. How old again?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
And that whole time was probably not a great life. I mean, she couldn't absorb nutrients. So this baby probably was in an amount of suffering.
I mean, yeah, especially back then. There's no way she's like hooked up to an incubator or something. It
essentially starved to death its whole life.
Yeah, that's not great.
Poor little Annie. Many speculate that this heartbreak and grief is the reason Sarah and William never had more children.
Rightfully so. That happens to a lot of couples. I feel like you hear that story where they have a miscarriage or they have to go through something unfortunate, whether it was before or after birth, and they just pretty much swear off children at that point.
I mean, yeah, grief is hard regardless of what kind it is, especially if it's the loss of a loved one, and especially like your newborn child. That's like probably one of the worst kinds of grief out there to lose, you know? Understandably, that they didn't want to face that risk again.
I mean, yeah.
Tragedy came again for Sarah when William died of tuberculosis at just age 43 in 1881.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that he died that young.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sarah was alone. And with even more grief, she also inherited a staggering fortune. 50% of the Winchester Company, an estimated $20-something million, which in today's money, that would be around $167 million.
Damn. I think that kind of reminds me of, I don't know any of their names, but Elon Musk had an ex-wife who, when she divorced him, I think she's the richest woman in the world now. Just sheerly from the divorce settlement.
From the alimony, like, sips tea, good for her.
No, I mean, for real, bro, get your bag, dude. And that's just how
Yes, amazing.
100-something mil, damn. I mean, I'm sorry for your husband, but if I die and you get 100 mil, live your life, girl.
Yeah. So, like I said, big paycheck. Unfortunately, wealth didn't protect her from the tolls of tragedy. She was only in her early 40s, and Sarah had now lost both her only child and her beloved husband. By most accounts, she was never the same again. Now, here's where the history starts to blur a little into legend. The most famous version of the story says that Sarah sought out a medium in Boston. During that seance, or maybe tarot card or palm reading, not really sure on the details of what happened with this medium.
Could have been anything at the time.
Sarah was told something terrifying. That her family's fortune was built on blood. That the spirits of those killed by the Winchester rifles were seeking revenge. That these spirits had come for her father-in-law and husband already, and now, as the heir to the Winchester Empire, she would be next. Unless she left her home, traveled west, and built a house for the spirits. A house that must never stop growing, because the moment construction stopped, her life would end with it.
I'm sorry, that's a... What time is this again? What year?
1866.
Okay, so it's 1866.
I'm sorry, 1881.
Okay, I mean, not much change.
Yeah.
Besides the Civil War is far over. A few years. But it's 1881. The spiritualist movement hasn't happened yet. So a lot of the ghost contacting and paranormal seances or things that these mediums would do haven't really been developed in my knowledge. It's like, what the fuck kind of wild shit is this medium doing to be like, hey, you know that rifle your husband made? You're not responsible for all that. Like, that just sounds like she had a grudge.
Maybe.
I feel like that's what that for sure was. She saw this frail, sad woman and was like, oh, you killed so many men in the war because of your husband. I'm going to get you. I know how to get in your head. And then she did.
Well, like you said, this might be a chilling story, but it is also the point in the tale where skeptics start to ask more questions and poke more holes, as you've already started to do for us.
I was about to say, yeah. I mean, I'm not even poking holes. I'm just like, who the hell is this lady to get off to doing this?
At any rate, whether heading the medium's warnings or not, in 1886, Sarah moved to California, purchasing a modest 8-room farmhouse. Not too small, but not a mansion by any means. However, that farmhouse would become the foundation of what is now known as the Winchester Mystery House. Almost immediately, the world's longest home renovation began. And this wasn't your average construction stuff. There were no blueprints, no master design, no clear end goal. Instead, the house grew organically. Room by room, hallway by hallway, step by step, tile by tile, as Sarah's ideas came. See, she wasn't just paying for the work to be done, she was directly involved in all the architectural designs and building choices, meeting with the foreman each morning to discuss that day's plan, and rumored to be running tomorrow's plans past the spirits in her seance room each night.
Okay. This is an example of a different time because there's clearly no building codes. Now you have to like submit a blueprint to the city hall, have an engineer sign off on it, have an architect sign off on it, get a right construction company that's approved by the city. This girl is like, just keep going. I feel like I want a room there, a room there, a room here. And these poor engineers just have to figure it out.
Yeah. And if she was really doing it day by day like this too, it's like, okay, today we're going to focus on building the tiles in this bathroom here. It's like, all right, well, what if we finish that early? Well, then I guess you take the day off early because I have to run the next plans past the seance room first before we can approve them.
I have to ask the ghosts what our next move is. And it's like, she's paying us.
Carpenters were reportedly hired full-time and to work in shifts around the clock. Not because there was any strict deadline, but because the act of building itself was the purpose. Over the next 38 years, the house transformed into something truly strange, growing from its original 8 rooms to over 24,000 square feet, and featuring things like 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 52 skylights, 47 stairways and fireplaces, 13 bathrooms, 6 kitchens, and approximately 160 rooms. Yes, I said approximately. It is possible there are still some sealed rooms left to be uncovered.
Well, you can't list those rooms on the realty sheet. Unfortunately, they got to have a door. I will say that's crazy. You said 24,000 square feet.
Yeah.
That's bigger than the factory that I work in right now.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's quite large.
And it's just her living here?
And all of her construction crews.
For 38 years.
She probably has some other workers like maids or butlers, things like that.
Yeah, obviously like the staff. I just mean like
other than staff and construction crews, I believe for the most part she lived alone. Occasionally her niece would come and visit.
Okay. I mean, still, it's fucking
But yeah,
crazy.
it was like basically it was her. Sometimes her and her niece.
Oh my God. And 100, how many rooms? 160?
Yep.
That's insane. I wonder how much this place would retail for today. And this is in California, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh
San
my
Jose.
God. How is this still? I mean, I get it because it is historical, and I'm sure there's going to be more to learn about that'll make me maybe sway my opinion. But it's like, man, how is this house still kept around? I mean, that's hot. That's got to be hot real estate where it is, and it's just being used as like, come see some ghosts, come see this crazy house.
Yeah. I mean, basically, that is like sort of spoilers to the end of the episode, but that is what the house is today. It's like, come tour the house. Maybe you'll see some ghosts.
Yeah. I'm like, man, you put like so many apartment buildings probably in that land.
It was estimated around 1923 that this home cost around $5 million in total to build from start to finish, which in today's dollars would be around 71 million.
All right. That's chump change.
Yeah.
She only had like 100 million in today's dollars.
It's like 167 in today's. And the entire total cost was 71 throughout her lifetime.
All right, so she still got like a cool 100 mil in the bank, a little less. All right.
Inside, the design becomes almost surreal. Staircases that abruptly end at the ceiling. Doors that open into walls or drop-off points. Windows built into floors. Hallways that twist and turn with no clear logic. And the oddities continue. There are 47 fireplaces, as I mentioned, but only 17 chimneys. One room has been nicknamed the Hall of Fires, as it has 4 fireplaces and 3 different air vents to release hot air.
I thought that was going to be something a lot cooler.
It's believed this room was probably some sort of sauna.
Yeah, see, that doesn't live up to the Hall of Fire.
Yeah, apparently it's nicknamed the Hall of Fires because that sounds way cooler than old version of a sauna.
Yeah, you tell me, hey, go check out the Hall of Fires. I'm going to be like, oh my God. We're going to see like a demonic portal or something.
For real, it's like, that's where Satan lives.
And I'm going to see fireplaces and I'm going to be like, ah, God damn it. Yeah, it makes sense.
The Hall of Fires. It's just fireplaces. Like, oh. There are 47 stairways throughout the home, some with steps just an inch apart from each other. And there are more unique rooms as well. Like I mentioned, Sarah's seance room. There was a conservatory and a covered carriage room. Even advancements for the time, such as push-button light switches, indoor plumbing with hot and cold water functions, and even water recycling systems. Despite all these rooms and even 13 bathrooms, there's only one shower.
That's not that crazy for back then, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, indoor plumbing was still new / expensive, rare at the time, especially it's out west.
People really romanticize like humans in the past, but bathing was not a thing for a lot of people.
And stand-up showers specifically, like baths were a thing. And all these bathrooms there's probably several tubs.
Yeah.
Just one shower. So that is kind of funny that it's like we don't think about how modern of a development that is.
Hey, I don't know when the first shower was made.
Yeah. There are also some strange consistencies throughout the home. The number 13 appears repeatedly. For instance, there are 13 bathrooms, and in the 13th bathroom, there are 13 windows. There are 13 ceiling tiles in the entrance hallway. Some rooms have 13 wall panels, and some staircases have 13 steps. There are 13 palms lining the driveway, and 13 hooks adorn the walls of Sarah's seance room. So, the mystery thickens. Why the confusing layouts? Why 13? Was it her ghostly superstitions? Or just her creativity and some peculiarities let loose? While it's widely believed and told that Sarah was building a labyrinth, not just a mansion, to confuse vengeful spirits and keep them from finding and reaching her, some say that she was actually getting her plans from the spirits themselves in that seance room, following their orders to appease them and hopefully protect herself from that revenge.
That's a lot again, I'm just in the mindset of the crew working here. It's like, hey, you notice that there's a lot of 13 showing up? Did she ever like mention that?
I'm sure, but we'll get to some stuff that might help explain why they didn't question it very much.
Okay.
Sarah wasn't just a haunted woman. She was an educated, wealthy socialite. She was progressive, enough to pay her employees very well, assist in moving their families out west to live nearby, and even making a point to hire people from every race. She also endowed a tuberculosis hospital back in Connecticut, and only on the condition that they would treat every patient as best as possible, regardless of their ability to pay or what race they were.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, she was kind of awesome, and she paid really well. She moved the families out, paid for their housing. Like, I'd probably not question that employer too much either. I'd be like, look, she's crazy, but like, who cares?
I mean, they talked about it and gossiped about it because it's like,
for sure.
What is going on with this lady? Her husband dies. She inherits all this money. She starts building a crazy mansion. And if none of these workers know anything, they're just assuming this widow is just endlessly building. They have to be gossiping about it, like what's going on. And then the 13 show up. And then if anyone gets the story of the medium, they're immediately, and the seances, it's like, how is she can't be hiding this from the people working on her house. They have to be seeing these things happening. I'm just like, yeah, you can pay me very well, but I'm going to talk shit behind your back.
Oh, I'm sure it was happening.
And I will say another thing is like, she's doing all this good stuff, and I don't want to discredit her as a person, but is it because she thinks she's going to be tormented in hell?
Isn't that kind of the whole basis of the Christian religion, though? Be a good person or else you'll be tormented in hell.
I mean, yeah, but that's like my kind of biggest division with the Christianity or religion itself is it's like, look, I don't think you need a big man in the sky to tell you what your morals are.
I mean, that's how I view it too. Or it's like, if you need the threat to just be kind, then I feel like you're not kind.
Actually kind. So I'm just like,
so yeah, maybe
would she have done this if this medium didn't tell her all this stuff?
Maybe. Her family that she was born in was pretty progressive too. I know that.
Okay.
Sarah wasn't just building a strange house, but one with modern tech and new ideas. It all just complicates the narrative further, because this wasn't necessarily someone who was completely detached from reality. This was someone capable of innovation and careful design. So why all the chaos? Later on, in 1906, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck the San Francisco area, leading to devastating loss and destruction. And the Winchester mansion didn't escape its effects unscathed. Overall, the property held up well compared to many, but the home's 7-story tower collapsed, and the north wing was highly damaged. Sarah had been sleeping in the daisy room of that wing, and while she remained unharmed, the building had caved in on her, and it took her construction team hours to even get to the daisy room through the rubble. Then they needed crowbars to pry open the doors to get in and save her.
Man, was the room like crushed, or was she just chilling?
Everything I could find basically just said it caved in around her or on top of her somehow.
Damn.
But that she was essentially unharmed. I'm sure she was bruised, maybe had some surface cuts and things like that. But physically, she wasn't like hospitalized or had broken bones or anything of note.
Okay.
So it couldn't have been directly on top of her enough for that to happen, but it was caved in enough that it took them hours to dig her out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All from an earthquake.
Rather than fully repair the damage, Sarah chose to seal off that entire portion of the home, perhaps unable to face the place of yet another trauma in her life. In 1922, Sarah passed away of heart failure at home in her beloved mansion. And almost immediately, construction stopped, just like it began.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I'm the crew working on that and I've lived here for 38 years because you moved my family out here and paid me very well, if you died, I'd probably have enough money to just retire. So I'd be like, all right, well, clock it out.
We're not going to get tomorrow's plans if she's not meeting with the ghosts.
Yeah,
so
see you,
we're
Miss
done today
Winchester.
anyway. Nails were only midway pounded. That's how unfinished some of these projects were. Like, they literally stopped halfway through the job they were actively doing when they found the news that she had passed.
Well, yeah, again, of course. as soon as I heard that, like, if whatever message system they had back then, if whatever way of messaging I found out that this woman was dead, I would have been like, literally, time to clock out, boys. Because she has no like lineage. She has no kids, right?
She has a niece.
A niece. So she has. Okay, but yeah, so she has no direct descendants.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay. So nobody is taking over the mansion or the money.
Not really, no. I know her niece did inherit some money, but she didn't endow the house. Like, she didn't will the house to any of her living relatives because she knew none of them would have the financial means to to maintain it.
Nobody
Basically,
would.
yeah.
I don't even know how. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how this house exists today, man. It's like the amount of they got to be asking for gold bars in donations when you enter that place because how are they affording to keep it running?
After Sarah's death, the home went into auction and was sold. New owners had originally hoped to turn it into some sort of recreational or amusement park, but that very quickly proved to be too expensive. And with rumors of a haunted woman, ghostly seances, and a mystery house already being circulated at this time, the new owners decided to make the grounds a public park and start offering history and ghost tours of the home.
Yeah, that makes sense around this time.
Yeah, so that was in 1922, 1923 is when it opened for ghost tours.
Yeah, see, now this makes sense because we're getting into the spiritualist movement, at least the early beginnings of it. So the idea of a paranormal investigation spot is kind of a hot commodity.
Yeah, and it was during these very first tours that claims started circulating from guests and visitors of cold spots, dissonant sounds, and even apparitions.
And again, just like the Queen Mary, it seems that all of these initial, outside of, Miss Winchester or the residents of the Queen Mary, once they open it to be this museum or ghostly investigation site, that's when you do start to get a lot of these other claims that come out there. So whether that points to this is real or this is fake, that's kind of up for you to interpret, but that is always interesting. I mean,
today, the Winchester Mystery House is considered one of the most haunted places in the United States. Visitors report disembodied footsteps or whispers echoing through empty corridors, doors opening and closing on their own, sudden drops in temperature, the feeling of being watched, and even distant ghostly gunshots. Staff members have shared stories of tools going missing only to reappear later in mysterious places. And then there are the sightings. A man in work clothes pushing a wheelbarrow or cleaning the fireplaces, who has been referred to as Clyde.
Clyde, just doing his job,
He's
working
just still
the grounds.
doing his job.
Poor guy. Anyone tell him it's over? She died?
What are you still doing here? It's over.
It's over. Go home.
Go home.
Go home, Clyde.
A woman veiled in black, believed to be Sarah herself, angered by the reopening and touring of her sealed Daisy room.
Okay, but like, what were you going to do with this? What did you want them to do with this building?
She probably wanted somebody to just knock it down, honestly.
That is the stupidest thing.
Who knows? Who knows what Sarah would have wanted?
No, I'm not arguing with you. Like, I could see that being one of her wants, but if that is the case, lady.
Look, I didn't come up with this reasoning of why they think Sarah's haunting her own house.
I don't want to shit on Sarah Winchester, but like, I wish there were doctors that studied her because something was going on.
Shadowy figures moving in rocking chairs past the windows and doorways, or even brushing up against the tourists but remaining just out of sight. That one I feel like happened when I was there visiting. Like, we seen rocking chairs moving in rooms that were able for us to be, like, we could view them but not go into them. It's like, there's nobody in there. How did somebody touch that rocking chair's moving?
You got to take a picture when you see that.
I know.
You got to be always ready. You just got to wear a GoPro on your forehead.
Just always. Even people who don't believe in ghosts often describe the same thing when visiting the mansion. A feeling of unease, sadness, or straight fear. Like the house is aware of you.
I mean, I could see that there's a lot of residual energy built up in the house itself, kind of a monster house type situation going on.
Yeah. Well, and who knows? I mean, like we said, there was no blueprints, zoning laws, and needing things signed off on at the time clearly worked differently. Who's to say some incidents didn't occur during this construction, and maybe some things were buried under cement that shouldn't have been buried?
Oh, I guarantee you. I guarantee you people died during the construction. I mean, that happened all the time back then during these kinds of things. It wasn't usually reported on even because it was just that common. I mean, you didn't have OSHA. You didn't have any regulating body telling these men what they could or couldn't do. So when you needed to get the job done, you did what you needed, and a lot of people got hurt or died.
Yeah. So that's the story. That's the mystery. Now let's get into every skeptic's favorite part, the theories. The first theory is that it's all true. There was really a medium, Sarah really believed she was haunted, and the mystery house really is haunted. If the medium story is true, then Sarah may have genuinely believed she was surrounded by these vengeful spirits out for blood. The house, in that case, represents a kind of spiritual defense system. A labyrinth designed to confuse, trap, or perhaps appease the dead. But here's the thing. There's no solid historical evidence that this seance or even any meeting with a medium ever happened. There's no records, there's no letters or diary entries, no first-hand accounts.
Not even from her?
Nope.
So,
Which raises an important question for us. Did this encounter ever actually take place? Or was it simply a story that was created later on, maybe even after Sarah's death, simply to explain her construction choices that didn't seem to make sense? Also, remember, this was a time where a lot of people were moving out west. And Sarah had diagnosed health issues like rheumatoid arthritis, heavy grief. Many doctors back then, and even today, recommend you move to a warmer climate or a place with less drastic seasonal changes to help in aiding those issues. So maybe she was moving out west just to get healthier, and she just happened to have very eccentric taste and ideas, and got a little carried away with her renovations. But then, like you mentioned earlier, what about all the people in the last 100 years who have now claimed to experience real haunting activity firsthand while working on or walking through the mansion? Who do we believe?
So where did the claim come from of the medium?
We're not sure. No one's quite sure of the origin of who first told that story or why it gained so much traction and was taken as truth. But that's like the story if you ask anyone in the past 100 years since Sarah's death, what's up with the Winchesters or what's up with that house, that's the story they were told.
Like what? And there's just no, that's just a lot of blind belief there. I mean, even believing it from Sarah's word, like even believing it from Sarah's mouth is still a little hard to do. But now you're telling me that Sarah never even said this.
Not that we know of anyway. There's no proof. There's no written record of her saying it.
Which, why wouldn't she write this down?
Yeah.
This is what defined her entire life. I feel like there would be some document of whatever her what do they call that? Manifesto?
Yeah.
Like something describing what her entire goal
A manifesto.
I mean,
basically, though, yeah. That's what we'd be looking for in this case.
And the fact that doesn't exist. Did the seances even happen?
Again, we don't know because there's no written or photographed record of it. So it's all just word of mouth and no one knows for sure.
Anybody listening to this show right now, ask your parents, your grandparents, did they work on this house? I mean, there's got to be people out here that worked on this home. They got to know more about what was going on. Because like it does kind of just sound like this was a grief-stricken woman who moved out west to get a better climate and built a home that probably had no idea how to do it. And
so that's theory number 2. Modern historians often lead towards this explanation. Sarah experienced profound and repeated loss throughout life. And instead of processing that grief outwardly, she built inward, literally building. The house became her world, her routine, her distraction, her coping mechanism, her way of continuing on when she felt she couldn't. And here's the thing, Sarah had no formal architectural training, so while she had resources and ideas, execution would have most likely been inconsistent with her at the helm. After decades of continuous building, different rotating crews, constantly changing plans, and, let's be honest, getting a little lost in the sauce of these renovations and of her grief.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It makes sense that you get something chaotic and confusing in the end, but that doesn't necessarily make it supernatural. Many people speculate that the doorways or stairwells leading nowhere and other confusing elements of the home could be explained away by the 1906 earthquake. Like we said, Sarah sealed off a whole north wing of the mansion, and it used to have a 7-story tower in place that crumbled and became an empty spot. So who's to say those doorways and staircases didn't used to make sense and lead somewhere logical and human, not ghostly?
I mean, yeah, this one really resonates with me, especially because not even blaming the earthquake. If she doesn't know what she's doing architecturally, those doorways might just be, oh, well, we tried to build a floor here or a room here and it's not structurally sound and it collapsed. So you can't have a room here. Sorry.
Yeah.
And they already built the door frame because she's not knowledgeable on this and said, build the door frame and then build the door.
Yeah. And also remember I said she has rheumatoid arthritis. So some of those staircases that are like 1 inch apart stairs, it could have just been built that way because she had a difficult time walking up and down stairs.
I mean, yeah. And nobody at this time is thinking, oh, well, what about when I resell the house? That's not something on your mind.
No.
You're building it to what you want. So you'd be like, yeah, build these tiny ass stairs, even though I'm going to die in 10 years.
The last theory we're going to talk about ties in with the second one in the sense that it doesn't believe the medium and ghost theory. After Sarah died, the house was very quickly turned into a tourist attraction. And let's be honest, a grieving widow built a weird house doesn't sell tickets in the same way that a haunted heiress built a maze to escape vengeful spirits would.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if I bought this property, again, probably an expensive ass property, probably expensive to maintain. You need a lot of money coming in. So what are you going to do? You got the spiritualist movement happening. You have the Borley Rectory that literally just happened in England, basically like a few years before this, which turned into the same thing. Why not?
And the couple who bought the house at the auction after Sarah's death bought it with the intentions of building it into some sort of theme park or amusement park. And then when that turned out to be too expensive, they opened it as a ghost tour instead. So it's like your whole plan was to sell tickets to entertain people here.
Which does make sense, though, for the theme park. Because what year was that around? Do you know?
1923. It opened to the public.
Under these new owners?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just 1 year after Sarah died. It was already a ghost touring house.
Which that's actually kind of crazy because
That's how fast it was.
not even the transition on that. I just, outside of all the paranormal stuff, I think it's crazy they wanted to do a theme park that early on in California. I mean, think about it. I don't even think Disneyland had happened yet.
Nope.
No. So, I mean, a lot of the the modern idea of theme parks that we think about come from European ideas.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy that this early you had this family that was like, let's do a theme park. They were probably pissed
That they couldn't do it.
when in a few years Disneyland came around, because think about the money.
Yeah. So it's quite possible that most of the ghost story parts and the medium and all of those details actually came later. And like we said, there wasn't any written or photographic proof or evidence of these things actually being talked about or written about while Sarah was alive. The only thing we do have that was during her life before she passed is an article published in a newspaper, a local paper, talked about the widow and her mystery house. And that was in the 19 teens. I don't remember the exact year, but it was 19 something teen. And they were already talking about this mysterious widow and her mystery house. So that was published while she was still alive, but that's about the only proof or evidence we have that could lean towards somebody saying it was ghostly. And other than that, that's our theories. So, what do you believe? Was Sarah Winchester a woman haunted by hundreds, maybe even thousands of vengeful souls killed by the Winchester rifle? Or simply a woman navigating unimaginable loss in the only way she knew how? Is the Winchester Mystery House a paranormal hotspot, perhaps even now haunted by Sarah herself? Or is it only a physical manifestation of her life's grief and trauma? Her own confusion and health reflected outward. So, do you think the Winchester Mystery House is haunted?
No, not one bit do I think that this house is haunted. I don't even think it necessarily is haunted in the eyes of Winchester, because even in Sarah's, again, manifesto, whatever she was trying to do to appease this medium, she did what she needed to do. So why would the ghosts be there? Even if you believe in this paranormal aspect of the house.
Yeah, who are they still here haunting?
The lineage is over. It ended with Sarah Winchester. They had no kids, unless whatever his name was, William, I think.
Oh yeah, if he had any secret wedlock babies out there.
We don't know about that, but they have the curse now. They better start building. But again, it's just like even the supernatural part of it, you don't really have to believe in, because she did what she needed to do. Now it's just a museum and an interesting house. But I don't even believe in the supernatural part. I don't think the medium or any of that stuff is real. I think the couple that bought it right before it opened into like this big museum thing crafted a story, especially now that you tell me they wanted to create an amusement park or a themed area. Like they're already in that mindset of, okay, well, we're in an amusement place, not a historical place.
Yeah, they're in it for the entertainment and the tickets, baby.
So it's like, okay, well, they wrote a story. They took this woman's life and they wrote a story, because who would defend against it? Where's the niece? We don't really hear much about her.
Yeah,
she gets
her
a
niece
settlement.
still lives out in like the west or in the east coast or south area. She didn't move out west permanently, so.
Like, did she
She's
ever
not
hear
really
about any
around.
of this?
I don't actually know. I didn't look up her niece much. I knew that Sarah had given her some stuff in the will, but that was about it. I didn't see anything else on her.
I mean, yeah, most of the stuff with the niece isn't too important.
You can look up her niece yourself, because I don't have time for that shit.
But it's just crazy that there's just nothing on this one. So no, I think unfortunately she was a depressed, grieving woman who tried to build a mansion with no skill in that, unfortunately. And again, there's no laws, so you can't just go to a head engineer or someone hired by the city to assist you.
And HGTV wasn't a thing yet, so it's not like she had been growing up watching shows showing her what to do.
No, exactly. And this is right around the time of the Great War. It started before it, but some of the construction was happening during World War I. So it's like People were probably just trying to find a job and do whatever they can wherever. They're not going to question what this woman's building. So that's why it's just so weird. That's what happens when you are smart, can pull something off, have the money to do it, but have zero knowledge on how to do it. It gets done, but in a very strange way.
Yeah.
What about you?
So this is probably going to surprise most people, but I totally think this mansion is haunted. And it honestly has nothing to do with the story. It's just that I've actually been there. I went when I was probably like 11, maybe like 12 or 13 at the oldest. Went with my family. We went as tourists and just took the history and ghost tour thing that they do. And oh my God, it felt creepy. It felt off the whole time. I'm like, something's wrong with this place. Something's watching. That rocking chair moved. And I have a weird Mandela effect like experience, which it could totally just be I don't have the greatest memory, and I'm very upfront about that. So it could very well just be that I don't have the best memory and my brain is playing tricks on me. But this is like ever since I went there as a preteen, like as a kid, I've never forgotten about this place because it was that spooky, and I felt something so pinpointy there that like I've never stopped thinking about this place. This has always been one of those real life mysteries that I'm like, no, it is a mystery. Like I felt it. And while I was there, one of these second floor doors that opens off to a drop off point outside, like there's nothing there. One of those doors, you open it, and there was a tree outside carved, or not carved, but like trimmed and shaped into the number 13. And that was at the point in the tour where the tour guide told us about how, oh yes, and she can obsess with the number 13. Here's the tree, and over there's the ceiling tiles, and blah, 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 13. And I've always had that image in my head. Like I have a visual memory of that tree and of that moment in the tour. And when I was doing this episode and doing the research and writing, apparently that's not a fact either. There's never been a tree or a bush or a hedge on that property that was for sure shaped into the number 13. No proof or documentation that was ever real either.
I will say too, not to...
It's a frequently asked question on Google where it's like, is there the 13 tree? But it's like, no, there's not. And I couldn't find it anywhere.
Not to like, shit on your theory or your memory, but even if there was a tree trimmed into a 13, that would have had to be done either very recently because it's a living tree.
It was done by the active people running the tours and running the building. I know it wasn't done by Sarah, but the fact that it apparently never existed at all, but I have a memory of it.
Well, the thing is, that's what I'm leading into.
That helps me think it's haunted.
Well, that's what I'm leading into is the fact that this wasn't something done by Sarah or anyone of modern time. So you very well could have seen at one point, maybe they just trimmed a tree into the 13 and then let it grow out. And it's not a staple to the house. It's just something they did at one point.
When I happened to be there,
and then it grew out, and it's not like an actual thing they point out because it's not part of history. If this is a museum and a paranormal spot, they're actively carving that tree almost like once a month to make it look like a 13.
I know, but that's why I think it's a weird Mandela effect, because in my memory, I have this visual memory of them opening the door, showing us the tree, and talking about how yep, this one obviously is a newer tree, but it's to mimic what Sarah used to have her groundskeepers do. And also here's more stuff about the number 13. It was supposed to be part of the lore, and that Sarah had in fact had groundskeepers trim hedges or things into the number 13 occasionally, and that just happened to be their dedicated 13 tree. But I even asked my family who was all there with me, I'm like, you guys remember that tree, right? And every single one of them's like, no. So I'm like, I don't know how my brain made this up with such vivid detail. If it was made up, why do I see it perfectly? But other than the feelings of me personally being there, if I had never been there and you told me this story, I would choose my normal skeptic answer of of course I don't think it's haunted. There's no proof. But being there is different.
Did you do a paranormal investigation overnight?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay.
It's probably $1 million.
No, I don't think you can't even do that.
Yeah,
Again,
they probably don't offer
the
it.
amount of money this place has to bring in order to somewhat stay alive, it has to be crazy.
A couple of fun facts really quick before we wrap up the mystery here. Harry Houdini, the famous magician, he actually tried to debunk the haunting theories in the late 1920s, so not long after the opening of these public tours. Apparently this was a side job that he did a lot, was go around to different haunting accusations and try to prove them wrong and try to prove that hauntings weren't real, which is that's hilarious to me that Harry Houdini was just trying to debunk hauntings on the side.
I know it sounds very weird, but at this time, another investigator we're going to talk about, Harry Price, is actually kind of considered a magician as well, and he does a very similar thing of debunking. That's what he specializes in. But the reason of that is you have to think. Magic at this time, during the spiritualist movement, was seen as a very wondrous thing, but the people performing it knew how the tricks were done.
They know it's trickery, yeah.
So when you have people claiming to be these crazy things or do these crazy things, a lot of these magicians got pissed off and they were like, no, they're lying to you, not for entertainment, for your own grief. They're manipulating you. So a lot of magicians would actually, unfortunately, it was two roads. You either became a con artist or you fought the con artists.
That's fun. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting sides of history.
Yeah, the magicians versus the con artists.
Yeah. But what's even crazier is that Harry Houdini did in fact debunk certain hauntings, but when he investigated the Winchester house, he ended up leaving with more questions than he came with.
Now see, that makes me not believe this man. Unfortunately, I was on Harry Houdini's team and now I'm like, come on, bro.
All right, last fun fact. The Winchester house was the main inspiration for Disney's Haunted Mansion attractions, and thus, later on, their movies, too. The idea originally from Disney was to create a typical haunted house that was spooky, it had bats, it had graves, etc. After visiting the Winchester house, he decided to put a more beautiful, almost Victorian estate-like aesthetic on the home on the outside to project wealth and invite. But then the deeper inside you go, the more mysterious and spooky things will get.
I could see that. I also thought it had Louisiana culture that inspired
a little
Mansion.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Haunted
sure.
Mansion has more than one inspiration, but
I could for sure see this, especially if it's in California. I mean, I'm surprised Disney didn't buy this property at some point and own it as an entertainment/museum complex, because they do that.
Yeah.
With the Queen Mary.
It might have just been creative differences or unwillingness to sell, or the fact that Disneyland was opening in Anaheim and this is in the San Francisco, San Jose area. It's a little too far north for them to feel like who knows. But that's it for the story. Now it's time for date night debrief.
What do you got?
When you were a little kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I mean, besides the classic 4-year-old answers of everything from a astronaut to a marine biologist, just the big ones. When it actually came to thinking about, okay, well, you got to put this thought in your mind now because time's coming up. What do you want to be when you grow up? As a kid, obviously not as a teenager, but still, when you're 10, you start thinking about it a lot more seriously than when you're 4.
No, I agree.
But honestly, it was just something to do with tech. It was very vague. I always would say IT, but it's not actual IT because information technology is a lot more systems and what you would imagine to be all the boring stuff to do with computers.
Yeah,
but,
like assistance for people who are having trouble on their phones. That's what I think of when I think of IT.
Yeah.
It's troubleshoot my computer for me.
But really, I just wanted to work in anything tech. And I mean, me and my buddies always produced videos and tried to get on YouTube. So blend the two and something in that world.
Has that changed at all? You think you've followed that path?
You still working on that book, Brian?
Still working on that book, Brian? How's that book coming, Brian?
Yeah, I think I'm on somewhat of a path like that. It's a little different now, but it's similar.
Yeah.
What about you? I think yours is.
I was going to say mine, it's hilarious because when I was in preschool, you asked me what I wanted to be, I would have given you one of two answers. Either I want to be a famous author or I want to be a famous singer. The older I got, the more I was like, probably never going to make it as a famous singer, as much fun as that would be. But I've been a writer my whole life. And then I had the messiest journey of actually getting there. Like, I'm like, I'll avoid it at all costs and go major in everything but writing and go to 8 different colleges before just moving home and going to that one. Like, made it so much harder than it had to be before I finally just decided to actually pursue being an author. But now I'm doing it.
So it was writing?
Yeah.
Writing and singing.
Writing or
dropped
singing.
Off singing halfway through. And
Yeah, it was always arts. Like, I mean, even when I was, like you said, like little kids give every answer under the sun at some point. I'm sure at some point I did say astronaut and marine biologist, doctor,
police officer, firefighter, like all of that.
Yeah, but 90% of the time, my answer was like, I want to be on stage. I want to be in a musical. I want to be a dancer. I want to be a famous author on the New York Times list. Like, it was always something in the arts. And that's what I do. I mean, I'm a photographer. I'm a writer. We do a podcast. This is what I do. I'm not on the New York Times bestseller list, but one day, after my querying bane of existence turns into a represented, loving existence, and we submit my books to publication, then.
Keep an eye out.
All right, I think that's it. Do you have any free talk?
No, I think I'm pretty good. I don't have too much update since the last time when we did the Queen Mary episode. Again, I hope everybody had a good Easter. If you celebrate that, enjoy your time with your family and off of work, hopefully. Or maybe, I don't know, my job did.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're both actually at our first jobs ever that gave us holidays off.
Yeah.
Every job we worked before this was like mandatory, you have to work holidays type of jobs. So,
yeah, so that was nice.
Yeah. So if that's you, we feel you. You got this.
But other than that, I don't think there's too much. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and be sure to come back every other week for a brand new episode and a brand new mystery.
We hope you enjoyed tonight's story and mystery. And don't forget, you can send us love letters or your own mystery episode ideas. Reach out to us on email, mysterydatepodcast@gmail.com, through social media @mysterydatepodcast on all platforms. Go to our website, mysterydatepodcast.com. You can leave us a voice message on there, or you can call the mystery hotline at 216-770-4881. And your story might just make it on the show.
And also be sure to share this podcast with your friends or even your enemies. We're not going to judge. Every little view helps us immensely. And every time you like, subscribe, share, comment, anything that you do to interact with the show directly helps us and makes us do a little happy dance back here on the mothership. So we can't thank you guys enough. And the more you do that, the more it allows us to grow this little family of ours and to hopefully, allow us to do bigger and better things with the show, upgrade the set, do more paranormal investigations, do more investigations into conspiracies, maybe buy an alien from Area 51 and just hang out with him on the couch. Who knows?
The limit does not exist.
But every little bit you do to help us, we greatly appreciate it, and we acknowledge it and see you. So thank you. Other than that, that's all. So be safe and have a great rest of your day or night.
And remember, every good mystery deserves a date.
Bye.